Department of Immigration under the Ministry of National Government and Interior will resolve this matter once and for all and allow Kenyans to enjoy the services. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Next order.
Order number 8, election of members to the East African Legislative Assembly.
Honorable Senators, as you may be aware, pursuant to Rule 15, one of the East African Legislative Assembly elections, election of members of the Assembly Rules 2017, the clerks of the Houses of Parliament, who pursuant to Rule 2 of the said rules are the presiding officers, by Gazette Notice number 14039 of 16th November 2022, and in the Daily Nation and the Standard newspapers of 16th November 2022, appointed today, Thursday, 17th November 2022, as the day for the election of members of the East African Legislative Assembly. I would like to provide guidance to the House on the procedure that we shall follow in conducting the election of members of the East African Legislative Assembly, EALA. The election exercise will be undertaken pursuant to the East African Legislative Assembly elections, election of members of the Assembly, Rules 2017. Honorable Senators, the election shall be conducted here in the Senate chamber and in the National Assembly chamber, being the venues appointed for this purpose by the presiding officers. In accordance with Rule 2 of the East African Legislative Assembly elections, election of members of the Assembly Rules 2017, the Clerk of the Senate and the Clerk of the National Assembly are the presiding officers, while the Speaker of the Senate and the Speaker of the National Assembly are the returning officers in the respective houses. For purposes of the election, a voter is defined in Rule 2 as a member of the National Assembly or a member of the Senate. Honorable Senators, with respect to the conduct of the election in the Senate, Rule 16.1 of the East African Legislative Assembly elections, election of members of the Assembly Rules 2017, requires the presiding officer to prepare and at the appointed time for the election to issue to each senator one ballot paper on which shall be written in alphabetical order the names of all duly nominated candidates, their gender, age, and county. The candidates have been clustered under the headings of the names of the respective categories of nomination in accordance with Rule 5 and 9. I confirm that ballot papers have been prepared in the manner required. Voting will be done through roll call, where the clerk will call out the names of senators in alphabetical order. Honorable Senators, senators who are present, on signing the ballot issuance register, which is available with the presiding officer, will be issued with one ballot paper. Each senator, on receiving a ballot paper, which has been duly stamped, shall proceed to one of the ballot booths, which are located on either side of the chair, and secretly record his or her votes by putting a mark in a space provided on the ballot paper for recording of votes against the names of the preferred candidates as clustered. Honorable Senators, Rule 6.1 of the East African Legislative Assembly elections, election of members of the Assembly Rules 2017, provides for the allocation ratio for each party, which shall be 3 times the figure arrived at by multiplying the number of elected members of that party by such number as the Joint Select Committee shall determine, and dividing the result by the total number of elected members of Parliament. As such, kindly note that the ballot paper is divided into 2 clusters. That is Kenya Kwanza Alliance and the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party. The Kenya Kwanza Alliance Coalition cluster has 15 candidates, while the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party cluster has 12 candidates. In respect of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance Coalition Partner cluster, which consists of 15 candidates, a senator will be entitled to vote for not more than 5 candidates. The persons to be declared elected in respect of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance cluster shall be 5 candidates with the highest number of votes, who must include at least 2 candidates of either gender. In respect to the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party cluster, which consists of 12 candidates, a senator will be entitled to vote for not more than 4 candidates. The persons to be declared elected in respect of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance Coalition Party cluster shall be 4 candidates with the highest number of votes, who must include at least 1 candidate of either gender. Honorable Senators, please bear in mind that in accordance with Rule 17.3, a voter can only cast as many votes as the number of the total candidates to be elected. In this case, 9 candidates. Honorable Senators, you may walk in. Take your seats, Honorable Senators, so that we can proceed. Senator Tabitha. Kindly take your seat. Senator Tabitha, acquaint yourself with the standing orders. When the chair is upstanding, you take your seat. Honorable Senators, it is also important to note that in reckoning the candidates to be declared elected, Section 4.4 of the East African Legislative Assembly Elections Act 2011 requires that at least 1/3 of the elected members shall reflect either gender. Honorable Senators, let me also clarify that under Rule 17.4, where a voter casts more votes than the number of candidates required to be elected, the ballot paper of that voter shall be regarded as spoiled. Rule 17.5 provides that a ballot paper shall not be regarded as spoiled where the voter casts a number of votes that falls below the number of candidates to be elected. In accordance with Rule 17.6, a senator who accidentally spoils a ballot paper while the voting is in progress is entitled, on surrendering the spoiled ballot paper to the presiding officer, to be issued with another ballot paper in place of the spoiled one. Honorable Senators, after marking the ballot paper and while still in the booth, you are required to fold your ballot paper and proceed to deposit it in the ballot box placed on the table of the Senate and resume your seat. Honorable Senators, as required by Rule 18.1, once all senators have cast their votes, I will appoint 2 senators, one from either side of the political coalitions, to be counting agents for the candidates. In accordance with Rule 18.2, the presiding officer shall, in the presence of the counting agents, count and tally the votes cast. Honorable Senators, pursuant to the provisions of Rule 19, when the votes have been counted and the results of the election ascertained, A, the presiding officer shall record the results of the tally and report to the Senate the result of the election together with the number of votes recorded for each candidate under the respective clusters. B, the returning officer shall thereafter send a message to the National Assembly communicating the results of the Senate, which the Speaker of the National Assembly, as the other returning officer, will announce to the National Assembly. And the presiding officer of the National Assembly will likewise report the results of the National Assembly elections to the National Assembly, and the returning officer of the National Assembly will send a message to the Senate communicating the National Assembly election results. Honorable Senators, considering the number of members in the National Assembly, the election exercise will most likely take longer in the National Assembly than in the Senate. In the period before conclusion of the voting in the National Assembly and transmission of both the National Assembly election results and the combined results of the elections conducted in both houses to the Senate, we shall proceed with other business scheduled in today's order paper. Upon receipt of the message from the National Assembly on the results of the National Assembly and the combined results from both houses of Parliament, I will proceed to announce the results to the Senate. In the event that there will be need to suspend the proceedings of the Senate for the convenience of the House, a determination will be made at that time. Honorable Senators, let me also point out that in the event of a tie between two or more candidates amongst those with the highest votes in any of the clusters, the process will be repeated in both houses between the respective candidates. As I conclude, I would like to remind honorable senators that during the entire election exercise, the East African Legislative Assembly election of members of the Assembly Rules 2017, and the Senate standing orders are applicable and will be enforced by the Speaker as necessary. Finally, honorable senators, I wish to draw to your attention to Standing Order 91 on decorum during division, which require, among others, that senators shall maintain order in the Senate and shall be in the designated seats and shall remain seated until the results is announced. That said, honorable senators, we will forthwith commence the elections, and I now direct the presiding officer to proceed. I thank you. What is your point of order, Honorable Kalwale?
Mr. Speaker, it's just for further clarity and for avoidance of doubt. I have not recently read the rules that you are referring to. Because we are men and women of this world, Mr. Speaker, I would appeal to you that if the rules don't so state, then please, because we are going to have our exercise end earlier than the National Assembly, do not send a message there before they conclude theirs. The temptation can naturally be that upon knowing the outcome here, and probably a preferred candidate, in quotes, is missing 2 votes, can be assisted there to unfairly defeat another one. I would request, Mr. Speaker, unless the rules so say, that you sit on our message until they have concluded, then you exchange messages at the same time. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kalal Boni, the message that will be sent to the National Assembly shall not be read until they've concluded their voting. It shall not be read midway until they have concluded their voting. And therefore, it shall not in any way prejudice the process of voting in the National Assembly. They will not know the results until the very tail end when they've concluded theirs. Let's proceed. What is your point of order, Chiranke?
Mr. Speaker, just so that it allows the House to move with speed and also assist. I don't know, I didn't hear your directions that the bars may be drawn so that we avoid our people maybe standing or the procedure, because maybe I need guidance that when such matter, which is very urgent and important, should allow the bars be drawn, or this one is different, because normally, Mr. Speaker, whenever we go to division, the directions and the tradition of the House is normally that we draw the bar so that it allows easy and seamless movement and allow non-interference from outside, Mr. Speaker, because strangers might end up walking into the House. Mr. Speaker, I think that we need direction so that I can see the Deputy Speaker, the Minority Whip, and others standing at the doorway, and they are smiling, which means they are transacting serious business, not that one withstanding, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chiranke, we only draw the bar when we go to division. We are here together. Order, Senator Kalwale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just to augment the point raised by the Senator of Nandi, I'm equally surprised, Mr. Speaker, that we are going into division. And yet the division bell has not been rung. I would have expected it be rung. This is a solemn, very important process for members, wherever they are in the precincts, to come to the House. The bar is drawn, and we start voting, Mr. Speaker. Please guide the House.
Senator Boni Kalwale, this is not a division. When we get there, the division bell will be rung. We're not there yet. Yes, presiding officer, proceed with the election exercise.
Honorable Senators, before you on the table is a ballot box, which I think which will be displayed. It is empty. Please show. It will now be sealed. When called out, you will please come to the table. You will sign the register. After signing the register, you will be given a ballot paper, which will be stamped, and then you can proceed to either side. If you are sitting on my left, please come to the left where you will sign the register and proceed to the ballot, to the booths that are on the left. If you are sitting on the right, please come to the right-hand side and sign the register, get the ballot paper, and proceed to the booths on the right. Where's the register? So we are ready to begin. I will call out the names. Abbas Sheikh Mohammed. Bishwa yuko kwanza. There is a pen. There are pens at the table. You don't need to find one, please. Abdurrahman Miraj Abdullahi. Adan Dulo Fatuma. Asige Crystal Kegehi. Boy Isa Juma. Honorable Senators, in accordance with the rules, I have a spoiled ballot paper, so I am issuing another ballot paper. So, andika. Cherarke Samson. Cherarke Samson. Cheriot Aaron Kipkirui. Chesang Alan Kiprotich. Chesang Alan Kiprotich, Chute Mohammed Said, an empty box. Ekomwa James Lomenen, Ekomwa James Lomenen, Haji Abdul Mohammed, Kajwang Moses Otieno, Kamar Margaret Jepkoech, Kamar Margaret Jepkoech, I need to know when it's empty. But she doesn't know. They don't know. There are two people right now. Oh, you decided you are. Kamau Joseph Githuku, Kathuri Murungi, Keroche Tabitha Karanja, Halwale Boni. Please go to the left. Please go to the left. Kibwana Hamida Ali. Honorable Senator, another one. George Chepkoech. Korir Joyce Chepkoech. Korir Joyce Chepkoech. Lelegwe Steve Ltumbesi. Lemaletian Hezena. Maanzo Daniel Kitonga. This way, to the right. Madzayo Stewart Mwachiru. Mandago Jackson Kiplagat. Mandago Jackson Kiplagat. Mbogwa George Mungai. Mbogwa George Mungai. Medhu John Mohea. Mogeni Eric Okongo. Mohamed Shakila Abdallah. Montet Betty Batuli. Sanda Munyi. Ndwati Veronica Waheti. Omar Mariam Sheikh. Julius Mugor. Lenku Olekanar. Sifuna Edwin Watenya. Beth Kalunda. Karungo. Tobiko Peris. Wakili Hill. Hiyo. Tol Kegehi. Mudhama
The voting exercise is now concluded. We have to proceed to counting and tallying. Before we go to the next stage, I'd wish to appoint 2 senators as tallying agents, one from each side, either side of the House. On the side of Azimio, Honorable Senator Siengo. On the side of Kenya Kwanza, the Honorable Senator Tabitha Mutinda. You may proceed, Clerk.
So, honorable senators, we will now, in the presence of the counting agents, unlock the box, empty the contents thereof, and commence the counting. Maalim lipo. We are ready now. The ballot box will be emptied and the counting will commence in the presence of the gathered Senate.
I want to. We want to start. The first one is Charles Frederick. We are starting with the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. The first one is Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Iman Falda Deko. Iringo Cyprian Kubai. Kering Zipora Jesang. Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Coalition Party. Ali Fatuma Gedi. Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka. No, you're okay, you're okay. Odinga Winnie Imgad. Shabal Suleiman Said. The last one. Are we okay?
Kwanza coalition, you have seen they have marked 3, is okay. Then under Azimio la Umoja, he has marked 3, it is okay. So we start. We start with Kenya Kwanza Alliance, Aden Abdikadir Omar, Charles Frederick Muteti, Sankok David Ole. Azimio la Umoja One Coalition. I hope you're okay. Ali Fatuma Gedi, Dirie Abdullahi Mohammed, Shabal Suleiman Said. Are you okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Coalition, we have a maximum of 5. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have a maximum of 4, which is okay. So we proceed. We'll start. Charles Frederick Muteti, Hassan Omar Hassan, Iman Falhada Deko, David Ole Sankok, Tommy Tom Lillian Chepto. Are we okay? Under Azimio la Umoja One Coalition, Ali Fatuma Gedi, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madenge Kanini, then Shabal Suleiman Said. Are we okay? So under Kenya Kwanza Coalition, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And under Azimio, we have 4. So okay, we can proceed. Kenya Kwanza Alliance, Aden Abdikadir Omar, Charles Frederick Muteti, Hassan Omar Hassan, Iman Falhada Deko, Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. Under Azimio la Umoja, Ali Fatuma Gedi, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Odinga Winnie Imgad, lastly Shabal Suleiman Said. Are we okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Coalition, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. It's below, so it's okay. Under Azimio la Umoja is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're okay. We start with Kenya Kwanza Alliance, Aden Abdikadir Omar, Mwangi Godfrey Maina, Sankok David Ole, then Tommy Tom Lillian Chepto. Under Azimio la Umoja One Coalition, we have Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madenge Kanini, Odinga Winnie Imgad, then Shabal Suleiman Said. You okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's okay, that's the maximum. Then under Azimio, we have 4. So we start Aden Abdikadi Omar, Charles Frederick Muteti, Hassan Omar Hassan, Iman Falhada Deko, Iringo Cyprian Kubai. Under Azimio la Umoja One Coalition, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madenge, Odinga Winnie Imgad, Shabal Suleiman Said. We are good? Under Kenya Kwanza, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we proceed. The first one, Hassan Omar Hassan. So Hassan Omar Hassan, Iman Falhada Deko, Kering Zipora Kurgat, Mwangi Godfrey Maina, David Ole Sankok. You okay? Under Azimio la Umoja, Ali Fatuma Gedi, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Odinga Winnie Imgad, Shabal Suleiman Said. Are you okay? Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we proceed. Charles Frederick Muteti, under Kenya Kwanza. Hassan Omar Hassan. Iman Falhada Deko. Kering Zipora Jesan Kurgat. And lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, Bosire Timothy Museti, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, and lastly, Kega James Madenge Kanini. We are good? Kenya Kwanza is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Under Azimio la Umoja is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are okay, we can proceed. Starting with Kenya Kwanza, Aden Abdikadir Omar, Hassan Omar Hassan, Iman Falhada Deko, Mwangi Godfrey Maina, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition, we have Bosire Timothy Museti, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madenge Kanini. Lastly, Odinga Winnie Imgad. You okay? Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 3 votes there. Under Azimio la Umoja is 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's fine. Kenya Kwanza Alliance, Aden Abdikadir Omar, Charles Frederick Muteti, and Hassan Omar Hassan. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madenge Kanini, Odinga Winnie Imgad, lastly Shabal Suleiman Said. You're good? Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And under Azimio la Umoja, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we start. Charles Frederick Muteti, Hassan Omar Hassan, Iman Falhada Deko, Kering Zipora Jasan Krugat, lastly David Ole Sankoko. Under Azimio la Umoja, Ali Fatuma Gedi, Busire Timothy Museti, Kega James Madenge Kanini, lastly Shabal Suleiman Said. You okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are good. Azimio is 1, 2, 3, 4. Then let's start. Aden Abdikadi Omar, Charles Frederick Muteti, Hassan Omar Hassan, Iman Falhada Deko, then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, Busire Timothy Moseti, then Mugali Justus Kizito, lastly Odinga Winnie Imgad. You're good? Under Kenya Kwanza, we have 1, 2, 3, which is okay. Then Azimio is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can proceed. The first one is Iringo Cyprian Kubai. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. Lastly, Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Iringo. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Under Azimio la Umoja One coalition, we start with Ali Fatuma Gedi, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madhenge Kanini. Lastly, Odinga Winnie Imgad. We okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Azimio la Umoja, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We proceed. The first one is Charles Frederick Muteti. The second one, Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. And lastly, Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, Busire Timothy Moseti, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. You okay? Under Kenya Kwanza, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, 4. The first one is Charles Frederick Muteti. Hassan Omar Hassan. Iman Falhada Deko. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. Lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Are you okay? Under Kenya Kwanza is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, 4. The first one, Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. And lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Bosire Timothy Moseti, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Mugali Justus Kizito, and lastly, Odinga Winnie Imgad. We are good? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the next one, we don't, yeah, just blank. Yeah, so we are good. So let's start with Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. Lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, there is no marking. Tuko sawa?
It's only one side which is marked, the other side is not marked.
Kisii Senator. It's the one for Kisii Senator. Kisii.
Yeah, so
It's the
you
Kisii
can't,
Senator.
you can't
Onyonka.
count that.
Onyonka, yeah, it's the one who missed.
Why did he?
Honorable Senators, that is not a spoiled vote, and it has been counted, and we proceed. Please look at the rules carefully. Please look at the rules carefully. That is not a spoiled vote, so long as you have not voted more than 4 or more than 5 on either side. Proceed.
Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Under Azimio la Umoja is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are good. We start with Aden Abdikadir Omar, then Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iman Falhada Deko, then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat, then lastly David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja One coalition, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madenge Kanini, and lastly Odinga Winnie Imgad. Tuko sawa? Under Kenya Kwanza, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Azimio is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he has marked. Yeah, so.
That's a spoiled vote. Ballot. It is spoiled because it's 5 and 5. It's spoiled. 5 and 5. It is a spoiled ballot.
So we mark, eh?
Kate.
This is under Kenya Kwanza. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's within. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What says it? The total is 10. It's spoiled.
So you add another plus 1 at the back.
So we okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's good. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are good. The first one is Charles Frederick Muteti, then Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iman Falhada Deko, then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat, and lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Mugali Justus Kizito, and lastly, Odinga Winnie Imgad. Are you okay? Under Kenya Kwanza, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're okay. The first one is Aden Abdikadir Omar. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Lowoia Rebecca. Lowoia Rebecca. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madenge Kanini, Odinga Winnie Imgad, lastly Shabal Suleiman Said. Are we good? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And under Azimio la Umoja, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's okay. The first one is Charles Frederick Muteti. The second one is Iman Falhada Deko. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja 1 coalition is Ali Fatuma Gedi, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. You're good? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, which is within the limits. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, which is okay. We start with Charles Frederick Muteti, then Iringo Cyprian Kubai, then Mwangi Godfrey Maina, lastly, Sheikh Yasser Ali. Sheikh Yasser Ali. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Kega James Madenge Kanini, Kioni Jeremiah Ngayu, and that's all. Okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's good. Starting with Kenya Kwanza is Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Lastly, Sheikh Yasser Ali. Under Azimio la Umoja, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madenge Kanini, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, Lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. You're good? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's okay. The first one is Aden Abdikadir Omar. Then Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Then Nyambane Joel Okengo. Under Azimio, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, Bosire Timothy Moseti, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, and lastly, Mugali Justus Kizito. Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, which is okay. Then under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We are good. The first one is Aden Abdikadir Omar. Then Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madhenge Kanini, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. You are good? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're okay. The first one under Kenya Kwanza is Charles Frederick Muteti, Hassan Omar Hassan, Iman Falhada Deko, then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat, lastly, Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're good. And under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're okay. So under Kenya Kwanza is Charles Frederick Muteti, Hassan Omar Hassan, Iman Falhada Deko, Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat, then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madhenge Kanini, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. You're good? Under Kenya Kwanza, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then under Azimio la Umoja is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start with Kenya Kwanza. The first one is Charles Frederick Muteti, then Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iman Falhada Deko, then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat, lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, then Kega James Madenge Kanini, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Okay? So Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have just, there are two, which is okay, it's within the limits. Then under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3. So we proceed and do the counting. The first one is Iringo Cyprian Kubai, then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Kega James Madenge Kanini, and lastly, Odinga Winnie Imgad. We are good? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, within. Then under Azimio la Umoja, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first one is Charles Frederick Muteti, then Iman Falhada Deko, then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Bosire Timothy Museti, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Kega James Madenge Kanini, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. You okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So, good. The first one, under Kenya Kwanza, is Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Iringo Cyprian Kubai. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. We started with Iringo Cyprian Kubai, then Mwangi Godfrey Maina, then David Ole Sankok. Azimio la Umoja is Ali Fatuma Gedi, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Kega James Madenge Kanini, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. You're good? Under Kenya Kwanza, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are good. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. The first one is Hassan Omar Hassan under Kenya Kwanza. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Iringo Cyprian Kubai. Then Iringo Cyprian Kubai. Then Kering Zipporah Jesang Krugat. And lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja coalition, the first one is Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka. Then Kega James Madhenge Kanini. Then Odinga Winnie Imgad. And lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Tuko sawa? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And under Azimio la Umoja is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, then the first one under Kenya Kwanza is Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Kering Zipporah Jesang Krugat. Then lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Kega James Madhenge Kanini, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we start with Kenya Kwanza is Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Kering Zipporah Jesang Krugat. Lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Tuko sawa? Under Kenya Kwanza, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Under Kenya Kwanza, Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iringo Cyprian Kubai. Then Kering Zipporah Jesang Krugat. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka. Then Kega James Madhenge Kanini. Then Odinga Winnie Imgad. And lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. You okay? So Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Under Kenya Kwanza, we start with Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Then David Ole Sankok. And lastly, To Ann Cherono. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Bosire Timothy Moseti, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Tuko sawa? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So starting with Kenya Kwanza, we have Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iman Falhada Deko, then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat, then Mwangi Godfrey Maina, and lastly, Sankok David Ole. Under Azimio la Umoja, we start with Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Kega James Madenge Kanini, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Good? Under Kenya Kwanza, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Under Kenya Kwanza, we have Charles Frederick Muteti, then Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iman Falhada Deko, then Kering Zipora Jesang Kurgat, then lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio, we have Bosire Timothy Moseti, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Good? Under Kenya Kwanza, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So starting with Kenya Kwanza is Charles Frederick Muteti, then Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iman Falhada Deko, then Mwangi Godfrey Maina, and lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madenge Kanini, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Tuko sawa? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Starting with Kenya Kwanza, the first one is Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. That is Lowoya Rebecca. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. And lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Mugali Justus Kizito, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, and lastly Shabal Suleiman Said. You okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Kenya Kwanza Alliance, Charles Frederick Muteti, Hassan Omar Hassan, Iman Falhada Deko, then Kering Zipora Jesan Krugat, and lastly, David Ole Sankoko. Under Azimio la Umoja, we start with Ali Fatuma Gedi, then Dirie Abdullahi Mohammed, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. You proceed. Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is good. The first one, under Kenya Kwanza, is Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we start with Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Kega James Madenge Kanini, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. We proceed. Under Kenya Kwanza, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And Azimio is just blank. So Kenya Kwanza is Aden Abdikadir Omar, then Charles Frederick Muteti, then Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iringo Cyprian Kubai, and lastly, Nyambane Joel Okengo. And under Azimio, it's not marked, as you can see. Yeah. This one under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And under Azimio la Umoja is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So starting with Kenya Kwanza, the first one is Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Iringo Cyprian Kubai. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. And lastly, Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Under Azimio, the first one is Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka. Then Kega James Madenge Kanini. Then Mugali Justus Kizito. And lastly, Odinga Winnie Imgad. Tuko sawa? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Under Azimio, you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's good. Under Kenya Kwanza is Charles Frederick Muteti, then Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iman Falhada Deko, then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat, then lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we start with Ali Fatuma Gedi, then Bosire Timothy Moseti, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. We proceed. Under Kenya Kwanza, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under Azimio la Umoja is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we are good. The first one, under Kenya Kwanza, is Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. And lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Tuko sawa? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Starting with Kenya Kwanza, the first one is Charles Frederick Muteti, then Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iringo Cyprian Kubai, then Lowoya Rebecca, lastly Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Under Azimio la Umoja, the first one is Ali Fatuma Gedi, then Bosire Timothy Museti, then Mugali Justus Kizito, and lastly, Nakusa Beatrice Asukul. You okay? Huh? You okay?
Esther. Esther.
But we had finished this one, eh? Tumemaliza.
Honorable Senators, one of the counting and tallying agents is tired and needs to be relieved. And that is Honorable Senator Tabitha Mutinda. Do we... Senator Joyce Korir, would you volunteer to be a... Oh, Esther. Thank you. Senator Esther will relieve Senator Tabitha.
Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, which is within the limits. Under Azimio la Umoja, I just marked 2, which is okay. Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we start with Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iringo Cyprian Kubai. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Then under Azimio la Umoja, the first one is Dirie Abdullahi Mohammed. The next one is Kega James Madenge Kanini. There are only 2 marked. You are good? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance is for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we are good. Okay, we start with Kenya Kwanza. The first one is Aden Abdikadir Omar. The next one is Charles Frederick Muteti. The next is Hassan Omar Hassan. The next one is Iman Falhad Adeko. And the last one is Kering Zipora Yesang Krugat. Under Azimio, we have Bosire Timothy Moseti, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, Kega James Madenge Kanini, lastly, Odinga Winnie Imgad. Tuko sawa? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the first one on Kenya Kwanza is Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Kurgat. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Then David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, the first one is Ali Fatuma Gedi. The next one is Busire Timothy Museti. Then Dirie Abdullahi Mohammed. Lastly, Mugali Justus Kizito. You're good? Under Kenya Kwanza, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we are good. Starting with Kenya Kwanza, Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. And lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, the first one is Ali Fatuma Gedi. Then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka. Then Odinga Winnie Imgad. Lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. We are good? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Under Azimio is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we are good. The first one is Charles Frederick Muteti. Then Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhad Adeko. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Kurgat. Lastly, Mwangi Godfrey Maina. Under Azimio la Umoja, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, Bosire Timothy Moseti, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. Are you okay? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So under Kenya Kwanza, we start with Charles Frederick Muteti, then Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iman Falhad Adeko, then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat, and lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, we start with Ali Fatuma Gedi, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, and lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. You're good? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Under Azimio la Umoja is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance is Charles Frederick Muteti, then Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iman Falhad Adeko, then Kering Zipora Jesang Kurgat, and lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, the first one is Bosire Timothy Moseti, then Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, then Odinga Winnie Imgad, lastly, Shabal Suleiman Said. You're good? Under Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we are good. So starting with Kenya Kwanza Alliance, the first one is Charles Frederick Muteti, then Hassan Omar Hassan, then Iman Falhad Adeko, then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat, and lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja, Ali Fatuma Gedi, then Kega James Madenge Kanini, then Mugali Justus Kizito, then Shabal Suleiman Said. You okay?
Yeah.
Lastly,
Yes.
under the Kenya Kwanza Alliance 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Under Azimio, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Starting with Kenya Kwanza, the first one is Hassan Omar Hassan. Then Iman Falhada Deko. Then Kering Zipora Jesang Krugat. Then Mwangi Godfrey Maina. And lastly, David Ole Sankok. Under Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition, we have Ali Fatuma Gedi, Bosire Timothy Mosetti, Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, and lastly, Kega James Madenge Kanini.
Honorable Senators, the results have been counted and tallied. A total of 58 ballots was cast. Number of spoiled ballots, 2. Number of valid ballots, 56. Following are the results of the votes cast per candidate. On the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, Aden Abdikadir Omar, 13 votes. Busaidi Saleh Muhammad, 0 votes. Charles Frederick Muteti, 39 votes. Hassan Omar, 46 votes. Iman Falhada Deko, 43 votes. Iringo Cyprian Kubai, 12 votes. Kering Zipora Jesang Kurgat, 37 votes. Kuko Jonas Mr. Vincent, 0 votes. Luwaya Rebecca, 3 votes. Mwangi Geoffrey Maina, 29 votes. Nyambane Joel Okengo, 2 votes. Sankok David Ole, 35 votes. Sheikh Yasir Ali, 2 votes. Tomitom Lilian Chepto, 2 votes. To Ann Cherono, 1 vote. For the Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Coalition Party, Ali Fatuma Gedi, 31 votes. Bosire Timothy Moseti, 17 votes. Dirie Abdullah Muhammad, 4 votes. Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, 45 votes. Kega James Mathenge Kanini, 29 votes. Kioni Jeremiah Ngayu, 1 vote. Mugali Justus Kizito, 9 votes. Mutua Winfred Sionindi, 0 votes. Nakusa Beatrice Askul, 1 vote. Ndeti Helen Mueni, 0 votes. Odinga Ingad Winnie, 35 votes. Sherbal Sleiman Said, 38 votes. We shall, as a House, I will relay these results to the National Assembly in form of a message, just like we'll await a message from the National Assembly so that we can conclude this exercise upon receipt of the message from the National Assembly. Next order, Clerk. The presiding officer kindly secure the ballots.
Order number 9, the county government's additional allocations, number 2 bill, Senate Bills number 4 of 2022, second reading.
Honorable Senators, after consultation, this order shall be deferred to today in the afternoon, and therefore we shall adjourn at this juncture and handle this matter in the afternoon. The House stands adjourned until 2:30.